My mother-in-law is blackmailing me. Yeah, you might wonder, why would she do that? Why doesn't she want me to marry her daughter? Well, it turns out I used to date her back in the day. Yeah, her mom. Well, it's a long story, so let's just jump right into the juicy details. Hey guys, my name's Nate. I'm 35, male, and I've dated a few women in my days, but the moment I met my fiancée, Addie, I knew this was going to be different. I've clicked with a few people romantically in the past, but this was entirely different. Addie made me feel feelings that I didn't even know that I could feel. We met at a conference about 5 years ago, and watching her speak in a room full of people without fear, oh boy, was it extremely attractive. However, I had never thought about her again for about a month, until our companies collaborated and we both were on the same project. It was a longer project, and we worked together for a bit over a year. While in the finishing stage of the project, Addie asked me out. The project brought us closer until one of us just went ahead and acted on our feelings. We started dating, and I knew soon enough that I felt more productive of her than I had ever felt of any of my previous romantic partners. I just felt more when I was around her, and thankfully she felt the same way, and we moved in together about 6 months into our relationship. Addie wasn't quite close to her stepmother, whom she referred to as Mal during our relationship. Mal had married her dad, Aaron, while we were working on our project, and she had attended the wedding alone and had not quite clicked with her. This wasn't surprising to her, as she had lost her mother just a handful of years before that, and she admitted to not being able to connect Mal with her father in that way. This led me to not being introduced to her father and stepmother until we got engaged. This is what led to the tricky situation that I am in. Let me backtrack further so you can understand why what happened is such a huge situation to me. Before I had met Addie, I was with an older woman. She was 12 years older than me, and her name was Mallory. Mallory and I met at a wedding. She was the thrill I was missing from my boring corporate life. We were in love and everything, but I was young, and she was not as young as me, and she simply wanted to marry. I tried to put off the marriage talk as much as I could, as that kind of commitment made me scared. I wasn't ready, yet Mallory kept on persisting. Mallory wanted to get married as soon as possible and have a huge wedding ceremony inviting everyone that she knew. I, on the other hand, was too young to be making that kind of money, and my parents did not approve of Mallory, as she was quite older than me, and they had refused to help with the wedding funds as well. So, as you can imagine, this left me in a pretty desperate situation. I tried to bring the situation up with Mallory, who, by the way, I had not even proposed to yet, and she blew the situation completely out of proportion. She began questioning my love for her. She thought I was selfish and a miser if I could not even fund my own wedding. The fight went on for several weeks. She would accuse me of not thinking about her. Apparently, she had told all her friends and family that she was dating a young hotshot, which had made me very uncomfortable, but I was in love with her, and with my argument she claimed to have felt rejected. I tried to reassure her that was not my motive to make her feel that way. I stated clearly that I would marry her one day, but that day might not be as soon as she hoped for. This, however, did not go well with her, as she threw the biggest tantrum I've ever seen by giving me a cold shoulder and ceasing conversation with me altogether. Well, tired of her behavior, I started to fall out of love with her. These tantrums made me see through the person she actually was: materialistic, manipulative, selfish. It didn't even take me a week to fall completely out of love with her. Of course, by now I understand that maybe I wasn't really in love with her in the first place. It was easy for me to fall out of love with her. She was a thrilling person, and I just got swept with the wind. Now, with the kind of love I feel towards Addie, I realized what I had with Mallory was infatuation, and maybe even a bit of idol worshipping. Addie grounded me, and I knew instantly that I was going to marry this woman. After we had gotten engaged, she immediately told me that she would love to introduce me to her father. Throughout our relationship, she used to reminisce about the special moments that she and her father used to share before her mother's death, which had torn them apart. So, The trouble began 2 weeks ago when we knocked on the front door, and guess who was at the door? Mallory? We both were just shocked at encountering each other on the other side of the door. She kissed Addie on both cheeks distractively and she stared at me. However, she was able to school her expression in front of Addie, which made me realize that I should too. This was not the time to bring up a past relationship, was it? So, throughout dinner, I could tell that Mallory did not like that I was marrying Addie. Initially, I had thought that she was being protective of her stepdaughter, even though they weren't close. I had assumed that she thought of me as the same person I was all those years ago and did not think that any woman should marry me. How naive I've been in that moment. I snuck into the kitchen in the guise of helping out Addie's stepmother to talk to her in private. That had been a mistake as she had misread my intentions and straight away told me that she was married. I reassured her that I was very much aware of that fact and reminded her that I was marrying her stepdaughter. She looked disappointed at that, but pretended to not have a reaction to my claim. I asked if she would be telling her husband that we dated or not, so I could decide if I needed to tell Addie right away or not. She looked at me with raised eyebrows and asked me why she needed to do that. She claimed to be completely over me, which flooded me with relief until she finished her sentence by saying that I wasn't over her yet. I reassured her that I am completely over her, and told her frankly that I've fallen out of love with her even before we've broken up. She said that she was glad to hear that. I had initially assumed that would be it. No further discussions were required, and I was of course wrong. First of all, I had to tell Addie about it, whose main concern was if I was comfortable with that. I reassured her that I was madly in love with her, and that my past relationship did not even hold a candle to what I felt for her. I also reassured her that Mallory had claimed that she was over me as well, and was okay that I was dating her stepdaughter. So we decided to go on with the wedding preparations per usual, right? That is, until today when Mallory came to visit me at my office. I have a private office of my own, so my assistant informed me of mother-in-law's approach. I had been hesitant, wondering if I should keep the door open or what. However, she strode in, pointedly closing the door behind her, which solved that issue for me, I tried to make pleasantries and ask if she would, like something to drink, hoping to get an excuse to open the office door. However, she declined my offer, and I continued sitting in my seat until we ran out of small talk. She took a deep breath and told me that she still loved me. I quickly sat up straight, really hoping for the door just to magically swing open on its own. She admitted that seeing me has made her old feelings resurface, and she tried to reach for my hand over the table, and I snapped them back before she could even touch them. She said that she understood that I did not want to let her touch me because I was with Addie. However, she claimed that she needed to tell me about her feelings because they've been eating her alive for the past few days. I tried to let her down easily as I told her that I really loved Addie. I reassured her that it wasn't personal, I was just in a very committed and loving relationship with her stepdaughter. This seemed to have annoyed her as her brows drew closer. She asked me if I ever thought about what could have happened between us. I wanted to end the conversation right then and there, so I told her the truth. I claimed that I did not think about her much, that she was my past and I was over her. She asked if meeting her again had erased any feelings in me, and I told her that it had not. This made her angry and she strode out the door. When she reached the doorknob, she turned again to me and asked how I felt, What if she was going to reveal the secret of mine to Addie and ruin my relationship? I shrugged and told her that I already told Addie. This seemed to have fueled her anger, and she threatened to tell all of Addie and my family about it and make both of us look really bad. She threatened to tell everyone that Addie had stolen me from her and that I treated her poorly. This got to me, and I would have been okay if it was just about me, but she brought Addie into this. Watching me deep in thought, she smiled and told me to think about it as she strode out of my office. I don't know what she wants me to think about. However, I'm scared that she's going to make us look bad in front of my family. People will talk if they find out about this unusual relationship between us. Addie's quite soft. She likes to stay to herself and doesn't like when people even look at her, let alone when they start gossiping. Mallory has just threatened to reveal our relationship details to our family, potentially intending to harm our reputation. I don't know, guys, this doesn't sit right with me. What should I do? I don't even understand what she wants from me in the first place. Update number 1. Hello everyone, it's Nate again. A month ago, my future mother-in-law, who is also my ex-girlfriend, confessed her love for me even though she knew I was engaged to her stepdaughter. Initially, I've been confused as to what she wanted from me. This question, though, was answered soon enough. We had an engagement party with our families a week ago, and I'd given a heads up to my parents about Addie's stepmother being my ex-girlfriend. They were understanding that I did not know about their relationship at all. However, I just did not want them to find out later on their own. Initially, the party went well. Mallory kept her distance, and soon I grew comfortable when I did not see her try to pull anything on me. That was until I excused myself to use the restroom. I washed my hands and pushed the door open to find Mallory leaning on the wall in front. I didn't want to have any kind of conversation with her, so I tried to move past her. However, she grabbed my bicep and pulled me back. I tried to get her hands from digging into my arm as I told her that I did not want to be seen with her like this. She asked me why was that. I gave her a serious look, to which she just laughed and let go of my arm. Before I could walk away, she asked me if I was scared. Of course I was scared. I didn't want her to ruin Addie's reputation in front of her family or mine. So I stayed where I was. However, she said something completely else, and I asked her what she wanted from me, and to my utter shock, she told me to break up with Addie. Otherwise, she would tell everybody the truth. She would reveal to everyone that I'm a gold digger who used to date rich old women for money and then absolutely ghost them. I was horrified when she said that, guys. I told her that I could not just break up with Addie, and she could not blackmail me like this either. She took it the wrong way, thinking that I wanted to break up with Addie, and she reassured me that she understood that I need time. I just shook my head, no, but she didn't really let me finish. She told me that she would wait. However, this isn't the only time that she's done it. Since the engagement party, we've met up 3 more times for one reason or the other, and she would grab my arm or my waist when nobody was around. Even though I shoved her back, she told me that she understood that I felt uncomfortable as I was still engaged to Addie. She would not even listen to me, and I felt like she was incapable of even listening to what I had to say and was deflecting literally everything I was saying. I once even tried to clarify. Even though she kept talking over me, I told her the plan and was clear that I was not going to break up with Addie and be with her. She pretended to not have heard me, although she did tell me that I would make the right decision because I always did. I know that Addie's getting concerned about her stepmother's behavior and wants to just elope, even though we both know that the rest of the family would not be thrilled about that. This blackmail's been going on for far too long. I plan to retaliate, to be honest with you. I went ahead and just asked for Addie's permission before I did what I wanted to do. Which, well, she gave me her consent, and I'll no longer let Mallory make my life a living hell. Update number 2. Hey guys, it's Nate here again. I told you all that I had a plan to deal with Mallory. I just put the plan into action after I've gotten Addie's consent for it, and I explained to her in great detail about it. The opportunity to catch her in the act and present itself when she came to visit me in my office about 2 weeks before the wedding, which I think was a few weeks after my last update. My assistant told me about her arrival, and I told her to send her in. By the time she was in, I had already started recording the audio on my phone and set the phone aside so as to not draw much suspicion. I asked her to sit down and told her that I wanted to clear the air between us. I asked her why she was doing all of this. She looked at me with the condescending air like I was being stupid for not knowing already. She told me that she still loved me, so I asked her why she wanted me to break my engagement with Addie. She rolled her eyes and asked me if it wasn't clear enough already, so exasperated, I told her that it was clearly not so apparent to me. She revealed that she wanted me to marry her instead of her stepdaughter, leaving me absolutely speechless. She told me that now that I was ready to get married, why not marry her instead of Addie? She claimed to understand that in the past she had pushed me to marry her, and that might have caused our breakup, but now clearly I was ready enough to commit myself to someone for life. And she was that perfect person, of course. She went on about how perfect we would be together, and I was honestly in shock, and wasn't really involved in the conversation at that point. I could not believe how delusional she was being. If she actually thought this was a good plan, I would ever agree to. When I had the mental strength to ask her, I asked, what about Aaron, Addie's father, and Mallory's current husband, of course, and she leaned forward in excitement, probably because I was talking to her about the plan at the very least. She revealed that if I broke up with Addie, she would divorce Aaron and take hefty amount of money as alimony. She said that then we could settle out of state, away from all the drama. Honestly, guys, I was just left exasperated and shocked at her reasoning. She was a horrible person, and I could not believe I ever fell in love with this woman, but fortunately she soon went away, saying that she would give me time to think of her offer. Thankfully, I have this whole thing recorded. However, I want to teach her a lesson. I wish for everyone to learn about the real Mallory, the Mallory who will readily divorce her husband to marry her stepdaughter's fiancé. This will teach her a great lesson, and Addie helped me devise a perfect plan for that. Update number 3. Hey guys, it's Nate again. It's almost 2 weeks since the last time I updated, and it's one day before I marry Addie. And I put my plan to teach Mallory a lesson in action today. I called Mallory and told her to meet me at a cafe, so we could talk privately, of course. I could tell that she was excited over the call. When I arrived at the cafe 5 minutes before the time we set, she was already there. And all through our relationship all those years ago, she had never been early for anything or any time. She hugged me like we were old lovers. I patted her back stiffly, hoping that she would not notice my discomfort with physical affection from her. We sat down and she immediately asked me why I was there to meet her. And before I could come, the server came in and got our order. It gave me time to ground myself and we put in our food order, mainly so Mallory would not be suspicious of me. I told her that I've been thinking about her proposal. She smiled at me so wide and said that she knew I would understand. She called Addie a loser and said that she could never make me happy. She claimed to have been shocked that I would even want to marry someone like Addie at all. I asked what someone like Addie even meant just to mess with her, and she stuttered her own answer out, saying that she always gave her negative vibes, and that's why she never really liked her at all. I decided to focus on the matter at hand, and revealed that I could not possibly cancel the wedding now. It was too late. All the preparations had been made, and I told her that I wasn't sure about her claims either. What if she doesn't marry me if I break up with Addie? She grabbed my hands and reassured me that she loved me. She would do anything for me. I told her, that the reassurances were not enough. I was putting my future on the line for someone who's married, and she asked me what would help me accept that she was serious. I told her that she needed to make some kind of gesture for me in front of everyone for me to believe her. She told me she would do anything for me. Then I took a deep breath and told her that if she had stopped my wedding tomorrow and proposed to me in front of everyone, I would believe her claims. Then she can divorce Aaron, take his money, and we can move out of state together. She promised that she would do this and even more for me if it meant that I would believe that she was committed to me. Before she could get any more physical than she already had, I excused myself with the excuse of work. I put down some money on the table and rushed away as soon as I possibly could, and I'm going to take care of her permanently in my and Addie's life for good. There's no way Aaron would stay married to her after finding out the truth. This way she'll be out of our lives once and for all, and Addie and I can live happily ever after. Update number 4. Hello everyone, it's Nate again. I married the love of my life yesterday. And of course there was a drama that I and Addie had orchestrated to show Mallory, her stepmother's true colors to everybody. I was very excited to start my marriage with Addie, even though I knew it was going to be full of drama. I've loved Addie for years now, and now I can call her my wife. I was giddy throughout the morning, and we revealed our outfits to each other in a mini ceremony before the wedding ceremony itself took place, and guys, she looked absolutely gorgeous. So, no woman could ever compare to how she looked in that white wedding dress, not even her stepmother who had showed up in a white wedding dress as well. This wasn't a part of the plan, and I felt very uncomfortable, and so did the bridesmaid. She was wearing a full-length white wedding gown. I can't even fathom where she got that at such short notice. Addie told me that it's all right, and told me to keep my head to deal with the drama that was surely about to unfold. She walked down the aisle. I cried huge tears uncontrollably. Erin gave me her hand, and we said our vows to each other. However, when the priest asked if anyone could show why we could not lawfully be joined together in matrimony, let them speak now or forever hold their peace. That's when Mallory stood up, startling everybody, but especially my mom, who tried to shove her back into her seat. But Mallory pushed my mom's hand away as she walked up to the stage. The crowd broke into gasps and awes and shouts when she confessed her love for me. Everybody grew silent. Then she asked me to marry her, and everyone just swept their gaze to me. I told her a clear no, making her stand up instantly. She shouted at me, asking me what that meant. I told her and everybody present that this was a ploy to reveal the kind of snake that Mallory was. My best man started the recording of the conversation we had in my office when she visited me, and I stealthily recorded it. Remember that? She was horrified that I've done this to her. She actually lunged at me, but my friends just kept her at bay, and I went to keep Addie away from her radius as well. She screamed at me for being a gold digger, but nobody was paying attention to what she was saying in real life, but they were just listening to that recording. Erin had gone red in anger and pushed up to the stage. He grabbed Mallory and pushed her off the stage, not hard enough to injure her or something. She just stumbled a bit. She tried to plead with Erin, saying that I'd manipulated her into this, that I brainwashed her. Erin was having none of it and told her to leave the wedding premises now. He told her that she better have removed all her things from their house by the time he returns from his daughter's wedding, or he will throw her out without a thing. Then Mallory was removed physically from the wedding. However, she screamed all the way out of the wedding. Erin told us to go on with the wedding now. Addie and I told him that we could delay the occasion, but he was adamant. He wanted to see his daughter get married to the love of her life, and even Mallory's behavior could not stop him from doing so. The family reassured Erin throughout the wedding, and he tried his best to keep a happy front, not wishing to ruin his daughter's wedding. Honestly, I can't believe how brave you have to be to put on a happy face at such a difficult time. Just because of your kid's happiness, and you know what? I am so grateful for that. Anyways, that's it. Mallory was not gone with her stuff by the time Erin arrived. He removed her from his house and told her that he would deliver the divorce papers right to her. She only needed to text him her location, and he did not listen to her pleas, and Mallory is out of our lives forever. Just like that. Final update. Hey everyone, so it's Nate again. It's been about 8 months since I married Addie. We've done a lot of great things in our lives by here, and I just thought I would give you guys a concluding update. First things first, Addie and I are happily married and on our way to having our first kid. It's a baby boy, and we could not be more excited. Addie's about 3 months pregnant today, and she's growing at a shocking rate. My respect for her and her body is only increasing by the day. I did not know so many things about pregnancy and parenting, but I do so now because Addie's obsessed with listening to parenting audiobooks everywhere we go, and sometimes even at home. Erin and Mallory's divorce was finalized a few days ago. When Mallory realized that Addie was pregnant, she did not look happy at all. It made me feel uncomfortable, and we moved away from our previous house. We weren't sure if Mallory was dangerous or not, but we did not want to take any chances, you know? Aaron, on the other hand, had been sad. Mallory had really brought his confidence down, and the family's trying to cheer him up by setting him on dates, even though he usually bails from them on the day of the dates. He says that he isn't ready, and we have reassured him that we were with him all the way through it. He can't wait to become a grandpa, and I genuinely believe that once the baby is born, he will get much happier. He's already told us that he wants to babysit his grandson while we work and, well, after he's born. Mallory, on the other hand, had begged Aaron to take her back and even tried to just poison him against me and Addie absolute multiple times. All these attempts led to her being thrown out. She'd been living with her friend initially, but later got her own apartment, and that's all we really knew about her. And that's great. She hasn't been interfering in our lives anymore. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the drama. I hope that now that the divorce has been finalized, we won't have to see Mallory ever again. We have even stopped saying her name now that we've started to get ready for the baby. Thank you for listening to me and advising me through such a difficult time. I don't know how Nate was able to pull this off. I mean, what he did to the mother-in-law gets her to show up, confess her undying love for him in front of everybody, and managed to get her divorced in the process. It was basically art. I want to know if you would have gone the same route or you might have done something a little different. Drop your thoughts down below in the comment section, guys. Let's go ahead and discuss this one. My name's Mr. Reddito, and I narrate stories like this every single day. Family dramas, mother-in-law, in-laws in general, inheritance dramas, neighbor disputes, HOA, Karen in the Wild stories. I mean, it goes on and on forever. As long as there's drama happening in this world, you can guarantee there's going to be a story about it. So guys, have a great day. I hope to see you tomorrow, and just please remember, it's cool to be kind. See ya.